Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this weekly show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running a Tales of the Valiant 5e game set in the world of Midgard called Scourge of the Dragon Empire. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of tips, tricks, tools, dedicated podcasts, a dedicated Discord server, all kinds of stuff that you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish. You get access to the 5e artisanal database, a set of tools to help you run your 5e game, some of which you'll see me using when I'm doing my prep today. And most of all, you help me put on shows like this. To the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your outstanding support. Right now, as we record and up until August 20th, 2025, we are having a sale of 20% off all Sly Flourish books, except for City of Arches because it's too new. But we have everything else. The 20% off is taken when you check out. You can get any of our books, PDFs or physical books. And if you have $60 or more in your order, you get free shipping. So please check that out. That's on the Sly Flourish bookstore right now until August 20th, 2025. 20% off applied at checkout and $60 if you spend $60 or more, you get free shipping in the United States. Please check it out. Thank you very much. Last week, the characters are delving beneath the Colosseum of the Red Sun into an old tomb that had been taken over by alien entities, a particular alien entity known as Din. These are entities from the void that are sort of a swarm-like nature, swarm hive mind kind of weird creature that ended up being a giant worm. And it worked out really well. It was really fun. They fought Din. They fought Din's guys, and they recognized that Din was fighting out of fear for survival, not for like conquest, but for the reality is it was doing both because it feared that if it did not take over everything, it would eventually go extinct. I stole this from a Peter F. Hamilton novel. There's an entity known as Morning Light Mountain, which is this interstellar plant creature that says, if I am not expanding, I am dying. And I was like, that's a really cool plot outline for a creature. Here are my notes from last week's game. They fought a big chul. That was cool. I don't think... So they never met. Oh, they did meet. Yes, they did meet. I forgot to have them meet an NPC that could kind of get them started on the next parts of their quest until they fought Din. And then when they fought Din, they met this guy, Erdemes Doom Viper, who was an escaped child of Mott, who said, a whole bunch of us have been captured by the Dragon Empire and were handed over to the blood mages of Kanesh for sacrifice. But it's taken them some time to get there. In the meantime, we were all planning to go assassinate Eustasia Stonegaze, an Ermanli of Adisha, a green dragon Ermanli of Adisha. And I think it's going to be, I have an idea about making them half basilisk. A basilisk dragon, right? A green dragon basilisk that can turn people to stone. Wouldn't that be cool? I just watched Clash of the Titans, so I think we're gonna do that. And so I had kind of some next steps, right? And one of the next steps was after they confront Din, this alien entity, and fought the chuls and other creatures that were there. And then after they get the Helm of Teleportation, which they're excited about, I said one of the possibilities was that they could smuggle a larva of Din into one of the nearby cities. And they immediately were like, no way we're not doing it. Yes, it was the Harryhausen one. It was the old 1981 Clash of the Titans. I watched it yesterday. We're going to talk about that in the talk show today. So they didn't want any part of that quest. So they before they even had the options for new quests, one of the quests was already done because as soon as they saw the larva inside of a weird sphere, they destroyed it. They're like, we do not want, we hate the Dragon Empire, but we hate that even more. So they immediately cut off that quest thread, which was totally cool, totally fine. Which meant they had two. Do we want to go rescue the children of Mott, or do we want to go assassinate Eustasia Stonegaze? So an interesting thing about this campaign that's gone on, and I'm getting kind of this from the players, and it's worth kind of considering, is they're really I have this idea for kind of the detailed plot on how to deconstruct the Dragon Empire through manipulation and a little bit of subtlety. And the players are like, we want to kill dragons, right? Like that's the idea of trying to convince the dragons that they're being killed by one another and being betrayed. We don't care. We just want to kill dragons. And we're totally fine with them knowing that we're the one who killed them. So they're really focused on that. And that, so I'm kind of going to shift the campaign more into that focus. I still want to have sort of things going on in the background in the Dragon Empire itself. And there's plenty of opportunity for backstabbing among the Morza and the Morza's people than there is for all the subterfuge. So I don't know that I have to worry too much about the subterfuge. And this is part of the value of kind of putting a bunch of different quests in front of them. And now they're at the level, they're 9th level, right? They just hit 9th level. So they're at the level where they can really start to fight and kill dragons, right? And I think I might look at Eustasia Stonegaze. In fact, we can look at it right now. And take a look. What I'm going to look at are adult green dragons. This might be the first adult dragon that they face. Might be this guy. And the question is, can they face an adult green dragon? Can they face an adult green dragon and possibly survive? Or are we way above the threshold? So an adult green dragon is 15. They're 9. So they should be able to take a 13 or 14. So this would be on the outer edge of their ability to kill him, but that might be okay. I mean, I'll tell you, Tales of the Valiant Monsters hit hard, but these characters are kicking ass too, and they've got a lot of dirty tricks, and we have more than 4. So I'm not sure that it's completely out of the question for them to be facing a dragon that's deadlier than anything that they've faced before. And I also like the idea that maybe like instead of a frightful presence, we're going to change that into a basilisk gaze because it's a half basilisk, hence the name Stone Gaze. So I think that the idea that Stone Gaze is an adult dragon, and that's why, because it's their first Ermonli too. It's a governor, right? That Stone Gaze is one of the Ermonli governors in the realm of Adasha. I think that is I think that's something valuable. Anyway, so they fought Din, they killed Din. They have not yet gotten all of the treasure and everything that's going on in this place. So there's still some cleanup to happen here in the Colosseum of the Red Sun. And then their plan is to head towards Eustasia Stonegaze at Sapphire Song along the Ardennes River and make it. And the request was to make it look like Ibelin or Lashmarak did it. But they don't seem to care that much about making Ibelin or Lashmarak do it. So it doesn't matter. They can frame it however they want. And that's really the next arc of our quest. And that is probably going to take 2 or 3 sessions, which means I don't really have to worry about the next stage until after that. But certainly breaking out the children of Mott from captivity, which is going to be nearby. I think we're going to have a temple, a nearby ruined temple where the blood mages are beginning to work on a sacrifice to kill these children of Mott. I think that would be a cool thing. And if they don't pick it up next time, they will lose out and those guys will be sacrificed. So then I'll have to come up with a couple of other potential quests, but I don't have to worry about that right now. Right now, this is all working. So we are going to create a new session note here. Create from template. We are going to go, this is my Dragon Empire game. Who is here? So Emmert is there. Tolstoy is not there. Who else is out? Rowan is out. So we have Amavin, Gaudenzia, Cal, Mateo, and Emmert. 3 of them are going to be in person. 2 of them are going to be remote. Emmert is a possibility. I give him about an 80% chance that he's going to be there. And if he's not there, that's okay too. Thinking about the characters a bit, they're 9th level. So one thing I'm going to do is like, what did they get? What did they pick up at 9th level? That's sort of before the strong start. All right, since they just leveled up, I'd like to hear what they got at 9th level. And so Amavin is our roguey type person. I think Amavin, so there's a couple things we can look at. Actually, why don't we go here and we'll look at the characters. I have character notes. And we can kind of dig into character notes to see if there's anything that sort of grabs us when we're looking at our notes. So we have Gaudenzia, small gnome ranger nomadic outcast. At 8th level, got +2 and is looking for magic armor. So that's something we can think about. Everybody wants magic armor, I tell you. Cal is elf druid who loves polymorphing into Tyrannosaurus Rexes. That's the new shtick, is casting polymorph on somebody and turning them into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Is looking for druidy magic items. Rings of protection and things like that wouldn't be bad. You can kind of add that to treasure, right? People like rings of protection. And I think that works with druids. Folks that are here in chat, if you have thoughts of, this has always been a tricky one. Like, what are good magic items for druids who like to polymorph and who like to polymorph and shapeshift a lot? Bracers of armor, I think, are other good ones, right? I think those are good because they kind of they will they stack with your beast form is the real trick. I think they have a spell storing thing now. They got a Pearl of Power. Amavin is looking for Goggles of Night, and I think got a magic crossbow. I think they got one recently. I'm not sure. Staff that gives +1 to attacks, damage, and AC, and Wild Shape is homebrew, but it's cool. Yeah, and I could come up with some homebrew stuff. I can't remember if Xanathar's or Tasha's had magic items for druids that worked really well. Rowan's not there. Mateo wants augments. So Mateo, I think the psychic augment, and that we had that planned out from the last game. So I have this list of treasure that we planned out from the last game that I'm going to drop in here. And since one of the first scenes is going to be collecting this treasure, this stuff is pretty good. I think they got did they get the rope of climbing? They got the rope of climbing and the gloves of swimming and climbing. I think I'm going to re-roll these guys because I think they got some of that stuff. And I think they got a lot of this golden treasure already. But the psychic shard is going to come from Din. Can convert damage to psychic damage, offers resistance to psychic damage, psychic blast, 30-foot cone, DC 15, 68 psychic damage. On a failed save, attacks have advantage until the end of your next turn. On a failed save, attacks have advantage. Yeah, so that's pretty good. That is Din's psychic shard. So that's good. These other ones I'm just jotting down, but I don't know that I'm gonna give those items out. And Emmert likes moving around the battlefield and is looking for anything that boosts character mods up. So you could do like I don't know if they have like a headband of intellect yet, but those kinds of things are really good. Those things that give you like a 19 ability score, those are really fun. All right, any other character secrets? So Amavin, Sapphire's song looks posh for a follower of Adisha. Right, Sapphire's song is it's like a resort place, and the idea that Adisha is not known for wanting to have big beautiful places. Adisha is known for tyranny and destruction. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, the ranger. What could Gaudenzia know? And the environments are lush along the rivers, and it's a particular river, right? The Ardennes River. Not so much further east. Cal, the druid. So we have like 3 nature-y kind of people. Cal, there are almost... This might actually... I think I might switch... I'm going to switch these out. I think that Cal is the one who's going to know that the environments are lush. And Gaudenzia as a ranger, inlets and outlets from the riverbed into the villa. Mateo, who is a mechanist. What would Mateo know of the things along the way? It took excellent engineering to build Sapphire's song. Engineering the Dragon Empire typically doesn't have. Or the engineering the Dragon Empire typically doesn't appreciate. And then Emmert, the opulence of Sapphire's song. How do I spell Sapphires? I don't know how to spell Sapphire. Is that right? I can't spell Sapphire. The opulence of Sapphire's song is an insult to the working folk of his home village. I need a name for his home village. If he doesn't have one, I can't remember if there's a name for his village. Fairy Fall? I'm using my random name generator I think Fairy Fall's not bad. Of the Fairies Fall, or the Fairy Falls, because it has waterfalls nearby. We'll see if he has a name for the village. I don't know if he's got one. So those are some connection points between the characters and what's going on here. Now we need our scenes. So we could have the strong start. They've just defeated Din. We could have Din's body explodes and leaves behind a psychic shard that Mateo can refine into an armor augment. That works. Then finding the Helm of Teleportation, then journey to Cat. What do you want? Journey to Sapphire's Song, and then the infiltration of Sapphire's Song. I learned how to spell sapphire. It's 2 P's. There we go. That is pretty much all we need scene-wise. There's 5 scenes. For the journey, we're going to have something happen along the way. They'll run into something along the way. So we'll, with my little trick for travel is when you're traveling, it's just nice to have like one interesting situation along the way that you can run into. So let's see. Sapphire, the secrets and clues that the characters might. I do not trust my cat. No cat should be trusted. I don't know what his deal is. He's bothering me. So some secrets and clues. Obviously, I've already picked up a few, but one of them is that Asia Stonegaze, or Monley of Adashah, and we can bold this. And is Eustasia, I think, is a female dragon who loves decorating her villa with the statues of her victims. So if Eustasia loves hanging out, so there's a few questions we can answer. So what was the villa is one question. Another question is, why did Adashah give Stonegaze the position of her Monley governor? Like, what did she do that got her to this rank? So that's a secret that we want to throw out there and figure out. So to answer some of this, we can go to our faction list. So in my campaign support, I have a faction list. And this can help us decide, like, what was this stuff before? And this is a great big faction list. I have 7 different ones. So we could do a D7, right? Because my artisanal roller. So 1, was it previously a temple to the gods? Let's roll a D8. Aton, Lord of the Ocean and Eternity, Keeper of Time, Oathbinder, Counter of the Stars, the Great Water Dragon, Patron of the Sea Drakes, Maritime Overlord. So this could also have a temple. Let's see. So Sapphire's Song hosts a temple to Segaton. And we will grab some information about Segaton here. I don't think all of this matters. Lord of Ocean and Eternity, Keeper of Time, Oathbinder, Counter of the Stars, the Great Water Dragon, Patron. Yeah, so we don't need all of that. And then I want to roll again because I want to have something that's not dragon related. So we'll roll a D7 again. 6. Pre-Empire dragons. That's cool. And that's a D4. 3. Veroska Sunhewer, Void Dragon said to be one of the most dangerous creatures to walk the lands, destroyed by beings beyond the void. They just dealt with void stuff. So I don't want to do more void things. The other dragons are Kavrosh Hellfires, greatest of the red dragons, slain by an alliance of 3 other dragons 1,000 years before the pact. Desanvir Startouch, star dragon who dabbled in the ancient magics of the stars, friend of the elves who supposedly left the world. So we could have that. To Desanvir Startouched, a star dragon who dabbled in the ancient magics of the stars and was a friend of elves. That's pretty cool. Is there a ley line nearby? So we should, let's go hop over to our Midgard stuff, our Midgard book. And actually, what we can do is go to Midgard Maps because it has ley lines. And is this the right area? I'm lost. Here we go. So the nearest ley line is at Ukmal. There are 2 ley lines nearby. Let's go to the ley line map in the Midgard book. So the Gray Way and the Dragon's Coil, I think, are these 2 ley lines. I think those are right. Let's see if the layers show. I don't know that there's a... Yes, that talks about the Dragon's Coil, but it doesn't show the ley line map. I wish we had a better ley line map. But these are the rivers. So we could say that that this acts as a tributary along the Dragon's Coil. Sapphire's Song lies along a tributary of the Dragon's Coil ley line called what? Let's go to our names. Something Jewel, the Cloud Jewel, called the Moon's Stride. How about the Sapphire Stride? Sapphire's Song lies across a tributary of the Dragon's Coil leyline called the Sapphire Stride. I think that works, and that connects to the Dragon's Coil leyline, which is controlled by the Dragon Empire. So that's kind of fun. So I got what the villa is before. That's pretty well set. So why did Adishah? Adishah is this brutal, strong ancient red dragon. I think it's like an ancient fire dragon, but we're going to go with a red dragon. That, very strong, very powerful, rules with a lot of brutality. We could say Adishah admires, stone gazes, tact, diplomacy. No, stone gaze is what? So stone gaze is, cunning is probably the right word. Rumor is that the two have several draconic children together who may one day grow up to be Urmanli themselves. Stonegaze's son. I kind of like the idea that if dragons of different types mate, that the offspring could be of any dragon type, right? So they could have, like, what if you were going to have a metallic dragon that was the offspring of a green and a red dragon? What would it be? Copper? Bronze? Probably not gold. Why don't we roll and find out? So dragons, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 types of dragons. Let's roll a d12. 10. A white. That's kind of interesting. There's a yellow dragon. And yellow dragons are kind of, that's a weird color. So a young yellow dragon. What kind of breath weapon do they have? Radiant. They breathe radiant. That's kind of cool. Stonegaze's son, who's known as what? Mensooth. Mensooth what? Earthkin? Willow Viper. Resides in the villa along with his mother. He handles much of her daily task and is likely to be the next Urmanli. The next Urmanli or an Urmanli? To be an Urmanli. And we could do the young yellow dragon on page 155. I got secrets. I don't have 10, but I think we're good. 2, 4, 5. We got 5 secrets, but we also have 5 secrets that are connected to the characters. So we're going to move on from that because there's a couple things I need to do. One is I want to set up a environment and a situation along their journey from the Colosseum of the Red Sun to Sapphire's Song. So we're going to start with a monument. So I've got to write a random monument generator. And we have an orcish temporal sundial. That's pretty cool. A sundial. I don't know what temporal. I don't know what that means. That means a sundial, I guess. We are also going to drop this. We're going to use our same faction list to tie this up. So we'll start with a roll of 7. We have 4 other dragons of the Dragon Empire. Yeah, let's see. Let's roll on that. So we got a 6. 1. Glavistus the Scourge. A chaotic evil female adult flame dragon. So this could be a sundial that was a gift from Glavistus the Scourge. And if we go to the Midgard book, GLAU, that's why. Okay. Glavistus the Scourge is the ruler of Rumela and known as the Fire Prophet. So that's cool. A huge sundial that was out there was a gift from Glavistus the Scourge to Adishah back during the earliest days. And so now we want an encounter there. I'm going to jump over to the Game Master's Guide, and we're going to look for desert encounters. So we have Badlands, and they're still tier 2. So let's roll a d12. 5. A scorched drake has claimed a portion of the Badlands as its territory and threatens intruders with destruction unless they pay an exorbitant toll in gems and jewels to avoid the fate. The drake hints at a nearby nest of 2 additional scorched drakes. Let's look at scorched drakes. They are CR6s. They're pretty much red dragons, but we could just have scorched drakes. So we have scorched drake toll collectors, and let's mix in another encounter here. We have this fields of this noxious spray that gives PCs vulnerability to fire damage. That'd make the thing even scarier. So what would draw them to if they were kind of making their way along this place, what would draw them? What would draw the character? Like, why wouldn't the character be like, well, we're not going anywhere near this area? I kind of like the idea that like, if you have this goblin captains and 10 goblins, goblin captain and 10 goblins serve the drakes. They're CR6s, but 3 of these, they could be accosting. So the situation could be 3 Scorched Rays toll collectors served by goblins and captains of 10 goblins accost a band of nomads for water, money, and service. So like you can either pay us in money or you give us your water or you are in debt to us. And the characters could run into this situation when one of the people there runs to them and asks for help. Hey, they're helping, like they're all going to be enslaved by these guys. Emily Gloomcloud, nomad of the Children of the Sands. So this is kind of a rich encounter we have along the way, right? That kind of covers that whole thing. Monsters we're not going to worry about. So that works. We can actually turn this whole thing to consolidate our notes. We could say Emily Gloomcloud, a nomad of the show, says, as characters for help, her fellow nomads are being accosted by 3 Scorched Drakes, toll collectors, tax collectors. Everyone hates tax collectors. And their goblin minions at the sundial of Glavistus, the Scourge, ruler of Rumela, known as the Fire Prophet. So that gives us the entire situation, and we can drop that right into scenes, right? And then we don't need notable NPCs or fantastic locations because we threw it all up into scenes. This is that consolidation of our stuff. We know that this situation is there, and it's kind of a neat situation. There's a few different ways to navigate this situation, I think. We can add some, let's see, we'll say the pillared, because we'll say there's some big natural stone pillars that surround the sun. Well, if it surrounds the sundial, that'd screw up the sundial, wouldn't it? Maybe the stone pillars are the sundial. It's almost like the megaliths, almost like Stonehenge, where like it's a massive sundial forged by mechanists. So, it'll be notable to Matteo. Matteo will be able to figure that out. So then the other thing I need to do is get a map of the villa. So we're going to go to our Dice and Commercial Map Gallery. Another feature of patrons of Sly Flourish. Gotta wait for these to load. I actually have a local copy that's significantly faster. I shouldn't be using up all the bandwidth. There's about 500 maps in here, and you can kind of set them to, let's see, that looks good. What does this look like? That's awfully big. That's probably too big. It's not so much a keep, although it could have like a castle thing. So like a multi-level establishment's not so bad. But I need a sewer beneath it. Here's a manor. This is pretty cool. It's a little small. I think I need a bigger upper floor. This one's kind of fun. I've used this in another, that's probably not correct. I've used that in another game. Even though I have 500 maps here, I've used a lot of these maps before, but that's fine. This one looks kind of cool. I like this. This one's neat. Yeah, I kind of dig this one. So I think we're going to save that one. And we're going to move that to my Campaigns, Dragon Empire maps. And I'm going to add a name to it. So that's cool. So how does this work? So we could actually have this be multi-level. Yeah, because they'll have like an upper roof. It's sort of like a big tower. And it's got like the lower areas. Yeah, it's got kind of sneaky places. I like it. I like it a lot. Cool. So I'm going to print that out. I am going to bring locations back. Whoops. And we're going to do some Sapphire Song Chambers. So what are some of let's see. If we start at the bottom and work our way up, we could say Forgotten Shrine, Lower Caretakers, right? So if I made that I zoomed in too big. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Right. So this is the lower area. So we have like a hidden shrine here, or forgotten shrine. We have the caretaker's chambers, which are sort of on this like island among the sewer thing. They have a bridge. Then these are the lower levels that the dragon folk never use. So these would be a mixture of like supply chambers, aquifers. I don't know how to spell aquifers. And what else would they have down in the lower chambers? So the lower chambers would be mostly of like these forgotten areas. We have like the grand stair. Who are the caretakers? Mostly goblins. I think that like the caretakers might be, well, we're having goblins in the other place. Kobolds, right? So kobold and buka servants. Hidden shrines to the southern gods. Lower kitchens. Lower dining, so lower. These are the lower chambers. Then the mid chambers, and that is going to be these floors. Whoops. So it's kind of interesting that these lower. Well, I said that these are like servant quarters, but I think like one half of it is ruled over by Willow Viper, so we could have Willow Viper's chambers below. Because the stairs from the lower ones go to these upper ones, which I guess doesn't matter too much. Audience hall are one. Guard posts, but they mainly reside in the upper floors. But I suppose that like they have speakers, so the speakers chambers, right? Because they have people who speak for them. The what's her name Stonegaze doesn't usually address people directly. Stonegaze has people that do it for her, including her son. And we have murals, gift murals, tapestries, and then upper chambers. That's here. Observation balcony. We have torture chamber, because she likes to work folks over. That'll be the northernmost chambers. And then we have one that I'm not going to draw a map for, which is her chambers. And where would her treasury be? I guess the treasury would be down in the lower chambers, right? And the upper tower is a shrine, the open shrine, which is her lair, which is Stonegaze's. And I'm gonna steal the idea from that right out of the shrine that Medusa fought in Clash of the Titans. So that gives me a bunch of locations. I'm not going to bother to like annotate the map with every one of these. Having them in my notes is enough for me to be able to improvise what the locations are when I'm actually running it. NPCs. So I am going to drop a couple of NPCs here. I'm abstracting these NPCs because I don't know necessarily where they're going to show up. But we have the Leovid Worm Traveler, Wormwalker. Leovid Wormwalker is a kobold noble and speaker for Stonegaze. We have Blake. We'll call him Blake. You change like one letter and you get a different name. Duskwalker, who is the unofficial leader of the Sapphire Song Jambuka. So he's kind of head of the servants. And they're almost certainly going to run into one of them, Whiston, Free Traveler, who is a Jambuka servant. So if they run into like a general servant, that'll be, we have an NPC for that. So now I got some NPCs for general location NPCs. So I think we are all set. That gives us plenty of stuff today. For the hell of it, I will do some treasure here. Treasure. We'll do our Tales of the Valiant treasure generator. We'll do 5 to 10. We'll generate. And this looks good. We will just drop that right in. I still have to fix the gems. So 5, that looks like 6 gems. No, it was 5 gems. Twilight Elemental Taxidermied Beast Statue. That looks fun. Featherlight Stormy Divine Armor Chain Shirt. We'll make that a +2. Stormy. +2 Featherlight Divine Chain Shirt Armor that can cast a Radiant Lightning Bolt once per day. That is rare. Cool. All right. So we got treasure. We've got all the stuff I need. I think I got plenty to work with today. So we're going to print this out. And I think I'm going to try 86 scaling, see how that works. I can actually go higher than that. So we will export and we will go up to 90, a little bit above 90. Look at that. Plenty of room for that one. And we'll print my notes. Friends, I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me today while we prepped for my game. If you enjoyed this show, you want to see more stuff like this from me, the best thing you can do is subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. It is absolutely free to sign up. You can find a link down in the show notes. You get a weekly RPG-related email with links to all of the other stuff that I do, and you get a free adventure generator for signing up. It's absolutely free to do so. You can also support me directly on Patreon. Patrons get access to things like the 5e Artisanal Database, which is this suite of tools that I've been playing with over here in the lower cell. You also get a dedicated podcast if you subscribe at the hero tier level. You get tips, tricks, adventures, all kinds of stuff that you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish. But most of all, you help me put on shows like this. And you can pick up any of my books at the Sly Flourish bookstore. Right now, we are having a sale, 20% off all of our books except City of Arches on the Sly Flourish bookstore. And any order of $60 or more, you get free shipping in the United States. So please check out our sale. It's going on right now. Thank you very much. Friends, thank you all very much. Have a great day and get out there and play an RPG.